Black Friday and Cyber Weekend is the perfect opportunity to boost your business, regardless of the level that your business is or isn't at. But specifically as a photography newbie, what should you sell? What could you sell? What should you not sell? And on top of that, how do you even price your work if you've never done this before? It might seem overwhelming, but today I'm going to give you some ideas to get that ideas mill in your brain jump started. So by the end of the video, you'll hopefully have some great ideas and not feel too overwhelmed by the process. So stay tuned. Hey again guys, I'm super excited to talk about today's topic because I love coming up with ideas. Just quickly, if this is the first time we're being introduced by YouTube, my name's Tracy from Red and the Wolf Photography, and on this channel we talk about all things photography with a little bit of videography and my YouTube journey thrown in for good measure. Now, as I was saying, I'm super excited about today's episode because I love coming up with ideas for other people, and it's kind of a superpower along with the sheer amount of chocolate that I can eat in one sitting. Anyway, today's video focuses on easy products to create with little time or little tech knowledge required. We're super close to Cyber Weekend and I really want you to get something up ASAP, so we're going to keep it super simple. This week I'm actually going to be making some of the things on this list myself, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. Do the subscribe and the notification, and I know that sounds a little bit like YouTubey, but these things are quite time sensitive, so make sure that if you want to keep up with things this week that you do hit those notification and subscribe buttons. Because basically the idea is to make sure that we get some income coming in this weekend, not just things that we're buying. Because if we're being honest, I'm going to say that there's something you've probably got your eye on, and a few extra dollars might come in handy, because otherwise you're going to have to explain to your better half why you've had to remortgage the house to buy some new photography equipment. So basically I'm saving you marriage, so like and subscribe, not that much to ask for. Anyway, stay tuned to the end because I'm also going to be talking about things not to sell over Cyber Weekend, and a personal horror story about when good photography competitions go bad. There's a lesson in there for all of us photographers. So let's get into today's content. So today's to-do list is to essentially identify some of the lowest hanging fruits in this list that you could accomplish this week. Because even though Black Friday is not till the end of this week, I've already been getting sales emails in my inbox. So ultimately, we want all of these up and going as soon as possible. And as mentioned, I'm going to be doing a couple of these myself, so we'll tackle the logistics of how and where to sell them as I go through those videos. But on to the ideas. Now, I know this is the most obvious, but number one is digital prints. And if you've never sold a digital print before, me either. So this is what I'm doing. I'm currently trawling my archives to try and find like 10 photos that I think would be decent to put up for prints. And I'll put a few up on the screen that I'm thinking of using. I've started testing some physical prints lately, both as just photography and also I got this done. Don't tell my mum, this is for a Christmas present. But I am really happy with how that came out. So I'm quite pleased that what I'm seeing on my screen and what's being printed is close. So not only am I looking to print things out to be able to sell them, obviously not photos of my daughter, but other landscape shots and things, but I also want to make sure that what I'm seeing on my screen is what's going to be printed out. And I'm also testing the quality of different places that I'm doing the tests at. And also, if I know which places print well, then I can recommend that if somebody buys a digital version of my print and say, well, if you're looking to print it out, these are the places that I think that do a good job. And it also might result in some affiliate sales if the places that I think do a good job also happen to have an affiliate program. So that could be an extra win-win too. Now, I know you're a photographer, you will have something in your archives. So even if you can only find 3 or 4, let's just try it. Let's just get them up and see how they go. And for this Cyber Weekend, I'm purely focusing on digital prints. I'm not focusing on physical prints because I haven't tested them enough and I'm not ready to go live yet with that. Basically, the goal of this week is to keep everything digital so it's as simple as possible. And after doing some basic research, it looks like $30 is about right for a digital print. So if you just want to apply whatever discount you want to for Cyber Weekend, then we're good to go. Okay, number 2, digital PDF training or photography guides. Okay, so this might not sound like the most obvious idea, but before you click away, I'm not talking about some 50 or 70 or 100 page document. I'm talking like 7 or 8 pages with a title page and an end page and a content page thrown in for good measure. The idea of it is to solve one singular problem. I actually asked Google's Gemini chatbot for 20 extra ideas because I thought it might come up with ideas that I haven't. And it came up with ideas like mastering the exposure triangle, a deep dive into ISO, shutter speed, and aperture, and compositional secrets, how to create visually striking images, or post-processing essentials, the beginner's guide to using Lightroom or Photoshop. So there's lots of micro ideas that you could essentially turn into a micro training. I could actually talk lots about this topic of how to create your very first PDF, but I'm going to be doing this myself this week. So I'll take you guys along because I create PDFs all the time. And that way you guys can do it with me and see that it's not really that scary. And the beauty of it is that we'll be using a program called Canva, which is completely free. Now, in case you're curious, I took Gemini's suggestion, I've chucked them into a PDF, and I'll put the link for that in the description. So if you want to download that and have a look through what Gemini suggested, and also when I did it, I actually asked it to give me price ranges too. So it will give you some ideas and some prices that it suggests you use. And also, just quickly, as a good example of this, I got this in my inbox from SLR Lounge a few days ago, and this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's a small, specialized topic, capturing Bridgerton-inspired portraits. Is there a specific style that you love to photograph that you could talk on? Anyway, make sure you check in with me as the week goes on because I'll be doing it step by step, so you guys can basically just follow along and stick the bits in where you need to. It's way simpler than it sounds. We'll get it done in like 2 hours and it'll look awesome, trust me. Okay, number 3 is Lightroom presets, Photoshop actions, or Premiere Pro Luts, if you happen to be into video editing. So, I'm not gonna be doing this because I'm no longer using Adobe, but I would be remiss if I didn't tell you guys to do it because, let's be honest, Lightroom and Photoshop are still basically industry standard. And if you've nailed some of your presets or Luts or actions, then why not bundle them up and put them up for sale? I'd suggest roughly $1 per preset because judging by some of the packs that I've bought, that seems to be kind of a good rule of thumb. So put about $1 on each one and then don't forget to give it a discount for Cyber Weekend. Now, as I said, I'm not going to be doing this, but there are a ton of YouTube tutorials online that you can go and find out how to actually export your Luts or your presets or your actions, so then you can put them into a file and then put them up for sale. And another idea on top of that is that you could create your PDF on how to use said actions or Luts or presets, because I know that I've tried using presets before and I'm like, oh man, that person makes everything look amazing and their presets always look so great. Why do my photos not look good with their presets? So that would actually be a fabulous book to write, or PDF in this case. So then you're kind of coming up with 2 products in one, because you could have a PDF on how to do everything and then also sell Luts or presets or actions, and then you could either sell them separately or you could sell them as a package. So you could kind of upsell people if they wanted to buy your presets, why not buy the book that goes along with it? So you could have a package like that too. Okay, number 4 is one-off vouchers, and I think this is the one that makes me the most excited. I think this is a really cool idea. Basically, this would be run on your social media. So I'm thinking like Facebook and Instagram, but you could probably do it all over the place if you wanted to. And you would pick 5 to 10 really cool photography ideas and then make vouchers for them. So even though you're not technically selling something, you're going to be providing vouchers if people do want to purchase something from you. And it's also a great way if you want to test out new avenues in your business, or to even test out different areas that maybe you're not known for. So basically it works like this, right? You create a graphic for each one, which again you can do in Canva, and there's heaps of templates that you can use if you want to. And each one would have Cyber Weekend written on it, or Black Friday, or however you want to do it. And then you could make up anything you wanted. Like you could make up one that was like memory preserver. I'll come to your house and take photos of all your grandma's old stuff that you just can't keep everything of, but you want to remember forever. I'll come to your house, take photos of that stuff, and I'll charge you like $47 for an hour. Or you might say something like, need new socials for the new year? I normally charge $300 for this, but since it's Cyber Weekend, I've got 5 vouchers to give away that's only $79. Or you could come up with something completely different and go, if anybody just wants like a boyfriend-girlfriend shot or a best friend shot, then I'll do half an hour shoot for you and give you 20 photos for like $37. And just remember, the idea of these is that they're limited edition vouchers. So anybody can use them, like anybody can download them, but it's only available to the first 5 people that book that specific session. So that kind of gives it a little bit of a time restraint on it too, like if you want to take me up on this voucher, do it soon. And truthfully, this is kind of more of a marketing exercise than a money-making exercise, which is why I'm saying to limit the vouchers, because you don't want to clutter up your schedule with things that are well below your normal price. And also, just a quick tip, make sure that you put limits on everything. So for instance, they have to be used by the 31st of December 2024. And then make a stipulation that it's only available in a specific area. So you might say only available in my local town. Because otherwise you don't want somebody from halfway across the country going, I'll take that, I'll book it in, and then just assuming that somehow the travel was included in that price. So just be careful with those kind of things as well. Anyway, the whole point to this is that you're kind of only limited by your own brain. Like, whatever you can come up with sounds like a great idea. Just make sure that you put in the stipulations, like I said, of like distance and time frame and things like that. And you could have so much fun with this. I can just imagine this going really well on something like Facebook or Instagram, and I'm actually looking forward to trying that myself this year. And number 5, one-on-one time with you in person or via Zoom. And once again, this doesn't have to be complicated. So here's an idea for those of us that have been using Lightroom for years. Do you know how to do all the basic functions in Lightroom? Do you know how to upload, how to export, how to make sure that your export settings are correct? Do you know how to do all the basic editing that somebody would need to do to make sure that the image was essentially correct? I'm not talking about specifically teaching them exactly how to edit any photo they want to in any way. What I'm talking about is whatever you're comfortable with is what you could potentially sell. Think about it this way. I don't know about you guys, but when I was brand new to Lightroom, I was like, oh my gosh, where do I start? There are so many buttons and tabs and sliders, and how do I import, and are my export settings correct? And it was, if I had just had somebody to sit down with me, and yes, I watched a lot of tutorials online, but I had so many questions and everybody did it a little bit differently. So having that one-on-one time to be able to actually just sit and ask somebody questions, that would have been fantastic. So just set up a time, record your screen while you're going, and then send them the recording afterwards so that they don't have to take a million notes while you guys are chatting. And then if you price it at like $47 for the hour or something like that, then for Cyber Weekend you could sell it for $27. And again, make sure you limit your spots though, because you don't want 100 hours that you're only being paid $27 for, but maybe 5 sessions could be available at that price. But think about it, how else could you help somebody? Do you understand composition really well? Do you understand the rule of thirds? Do you understand symmetry? Do you understand the Fibonacci circle thingamajig? Could you explain that to somebody? Could you look at somebody's photos and then identify exactly what it is that they're trying to do and what they're not quite nailing? Because as a new photographer, you can look at your photo and you're like, I kind of know what I'm after. I kind of want it to look like this person's stuff, but I have no idea how to get from what I have to where I want to go. So you could get somebody to send you 10 photos of theirs and you could write a written critique back for them. And you could charge like $27 for that. Or, for example, you could say, okay, well, send me the 10 photos. We'll hop on Zoom for 10 minutes and I'll give you live feedback on the problems that I'm seeing in the photographs that you have so that you can get better. So you might do the written version for say $27, but if somebody wants to go on Zoom with you, then you might charge $47 for it. So really consider the skills that you do have, and just remember sometimes people just want to reach out and have somebody to ask a question to. And these micro learning opportunities, for a lot of people, we're so busy. I have access to some big courses that I've bought, and I've paid some decent money for some of these courses. I don't have the time, and sometimes I have a really specific question and those courses can't answer me. Like getting a review on my photos, for example, they're not going to answer me what I'm doing wrong with my photos. So that really is a great way to be able to help people. Sometimes you just need a really quick answer, so don't underestimate the power of small stepping stones. Okay, bonus section, what not to sell over Cyber Weekend and Black Friday. And the answer to this is your regular services. Okay, so I did make a suggestion earlier to make a voucher system where maybe you've got a couple of services that you normally do and you might discount them a little bit, or give away like 5 vouchers, for example. But you really do need to be careful with your regular services and offerings. The reason for this is twofold. The first one is that you don't want to say 50% off weddings and then book yourself out for the next year, and all of a sudden you're bringing in like half of what you'd projected for the year. And secondly, and this one's actually really important, you don't want to tarnish the premium services that you do have. Essentially, you want to train your customers that your premium services and offerings that you charge a premium price for are in fact premium. And it's not something that if people just wait around long enough that you're going to put a discount onto. A better option, if you wanted to do kind of something like that, might actually be, instead of discounting a whole bunch of them, because like I said, I don't think that's the best option, might be to give away a competition. That way, it doesn't actually diminish the price. In fact, it makes it bigger. Like, I'm not willing to discount it, but I will give one away for free to one lucky person. And now I'm gonna say something really controversial, I think, within the photography industry, because I've heard a lot of people debate this. Do not give away just the session. It's so rude. And I personally had the worst experience with this. So I'm gonna give you the short version of this story. In my early 20s, I just had my son, brand new baby, first time mum, and I won a session. So I organised to have my mum and dad and my pop, and I was so broke that my mum and dad had to even pay for the fuel to go up to the session. And we had such a great shoot. And like I said, my pop was there and mum and dad were there, and we did a whole bunch of things, had a fantastic shoot. And then we went into the room and they bought us all the pictures and they were showing, and I was like, oh man, these are beautiful. And then they're like, so you get to pick one free and the rest are $25 each. And I just about had a heart attack. I couldn't even afford to get myself to the session, and they were like, it's gonna be $25 each. There was no way that I could afford that at that time. And let's just say the entire session left a really bad taste in my mouth after that. Now, the point of this is it's not just about me and my experience. I've actually seen other people talking about the exact same thing in Facebook groups, because some business mentors are like, give away a session for free and then you can make all the money on the back end when people purchase the images. And I think that's incredibly rude. I mean, let's say that you went on the radio and they're like, we're gonna bake you the best birthday cake ever, and it's gonna be whatever flavor you want and everything else. It's a competition. And then you enter and you win it, and then you go to the bakery and the baker's like, here, look at the cake we made you. Now you've got to pay us $300 to buy it. Like, who would do that? And I think it's incredibly rude, and I don't know who is giving away this business advice, but the company that I went to, not only did they waste an entire competition on a customer that couldn't afford to buy it, but also they then gave a super bad experience to a customer that then went away and said to everybody, man, that was the worst experience ever. So really think about that kind of stuff when you're giving away things, because most people don't realize that often photographers will separate out the session as well as the photographs, or they'll say the session plus 10 photographs, and then if you want, there's another tier with 20 photographs and another tier with 50 photographs or something like that. Most people don't understand that. So don't be rude. Either do it or don't, and you're only providing digital images anyway. It's not like we're having to print a bunch of them out or anything. So just don't. Anyway, after all of that, rant over, back to Cyber Weekend. Choose a few things from the list that you guys would like to do personally, and like I said, I'm going to be making videos throughout the week, so we can do a lot of them together. And make sure you check out the PDF, again, the link's in the description, and come along with me and let's get some of our very first products up this week. I'm really quite excited. And anyway, I will see you guys in the next video.